Hey everybody, so you're level 80. Now what? Well, today's video is going to help you answer that question. We're going to try to break this video up into segments, kind of to break apart each area that you need to be working on, and I'll try to give you kind of how to prioritize it, but a lot of these things you're going to have to work on every day, kind of like you're working on the R&D grind to get to level 80. So the first thing we're going to go into is the command center. Once you hit level 80, some of these things will and won't be level 80 also, or level 50. So the first thing you're going to want to do is make sure your command center and your repair room both make it to their maximum level, which is 80 for command center and 50 for your repair room. Then you will want to make sure that you get all of your troops to level 80. So your merged troops all equal level 80. This is probably your first priority once you hit level 80. Same with your merge gold mine, you also want that level 80, but if you've watched my previous videos, that should have been the first thing to level 80. So after that, these other things aren't as important. These you can, if you so choose, you can work to get them to level 80, but it's not necessary. So these things are not necessarily level 80. I do suggest getting your merge barracks and shipyard and airbase all to level 80. That way, any troops you create are automatically level 80 and you don't have to worry about merging them. But the build gold mine, build barracks, build shipyard, build airbase are not relevant. I personally am going to level mine up slowly as I get gold and spare gold, I should say. But that's just because I'm always of the belief that new levels will come out at some time, and I want to be a little bit ahead for that. So the next thing with that, and it kind of tags along with that, is to work on your getting your Valhallas. So in your Hall of Valhallas, which I also have another video on, you can choose which of the forces you want. So for army, you will want the green tank. For navy, you will want the Fenrir. And for air force, I believe in the Valhalla video, I might have said something different there, but we've actually found the RVAC, I believe, to be the better. Oh, not that button. To be the better. Yeah, to be the better Valhalla for air force. These cost 100 Odinium to unlock, and then they cost, depending on what troop level you have, they cost different amounts to train them one at a time, or you can train up to 5 at a time. And then the only way to complete them faster is to use gems. So unless you absolutely need them, you don't necessarily have to gem them, but as another note, you do have to use gold to also unlock them. So you can see here you need 5.04 FF gold. You'll need 11k of the merged troops tech, and you'll need 100k Odinium. So that's another thing to work on. The next thing we're going to talk about is VIT. So VIT is not irrelevant once you hit level 80. Some of the things that you need VIT for are to get the rest of the tech if you want to max out the 80, everything to 80. You also need the R&D for CC, command center, and repair base 8 to maximize those. Another thing that you need is to run Warhammers. You can run your Dark Forces for your dailies. So if you have into your reward quests, you have kill 6 Dark Forces or kill 15 Dark Forces or whatever it may be. You can run your Dark Forces for that. You can run your Dark Forces for events. So if you have arms race, you can run it to maximize your rewards. And if you want to push for the win, so say you want to be to first place, you could push for that. You can use Dark Forces for your Pioneer Trails and other events. You can use for any events, you can run the Dark Forces, but I do not suggest doing it unless there's an event going on and unless it's needed for that event. So like the baking event, you'd want to use your run Dark Forces for that because you get more VIT than you do for Warhammers. But otherwise, I would highly suggest run Dark Forces, and then you don't get points for Warhammers for the baking event. I think I might have misspoke there, but when you are not in an event or you don't need to be running Dark Forces to gain points or get a reward, you want to be running Warhammers because you get these two items, not often, but you do get them on the right. So you get your 2 March speed ups. These are really important for the Odinium, or not Odinium Wars, for Server Wars and any other events that you are doing war because you're able to get your troops in and out of someplace really fast, possibly without your base being noticed, possibly without being hit. So it's two things that can really help you to stay safe. So that is what I would suggest for that. Now, with VIT, you will see if we scroll through my items that I still have 50, 34, or 34, 50 pots. I still have 5 of these little chargey ones. I have 59, 10 pots. I have that. The two 10 chargey ones. So I still have a lot of it, and I will save that for events like the baking event where I get a reward for using a lot of it. So kind of keep that in mind that you don't have to waste that your VIT pots regularly. Save them for events, but you do want to use your VIT that naturally generates through time. And you still want to increase that because the more march speeds you get, the better. So then there is another thing called a throb. That event is currently not going on in our server, at least. You will, that is your best friend when you are level 80. So that is a uh, basically it's like a warhammer, but the only thing you get from it is gold and the tickets, which you can redeem for other things. So that's something you can keep in mind, that once that rolls around, you'll want to switch from the warhammers to that. Still run your dark forces and your warhammers for events like you would need, but then you'd want to switch over to throbs. And there's actually two other things you want to use VIT on. There is your hunting guild. So whenever you get a treasure guard, you'd want to use your VIT for that. And there is your SOS help me letters. So these are also really, really important. Probably one, if you're not doing an event of any sort, these would probably be the first thing I would say to use, mainly because they give you rare skills and they give you research cards to get more skills. And getting your skills leveled up quickly is kind of important. So that's kind of where that goes. Now, some other things to be working on when you're level 80. Obviously, with Valhalla, you need Odinium. So you want to be coming into these mines, and I'm going to waste gems here. It's not going to let me waste gems. You want to be mining Odinium in the dimensional mines. You want to be still mining oil and food and Odinium in the real world, or in the world, because you want to be working on your perks. So you want to maximize your basic perk, and then you want to be focusing on your specialized perk to get it as far down as possible, as quickly as possible. So you'll see mine is currently at the HP level here, and my goal is to get it down to this beyond the limit level, which is basically gives me 3 heroes, and it gives each of my heroes an extra skill slot. I will keep pushing beyond that, but that's kind of my main goal right now. As my level 80 is to push this to get that 3rd hero, because that's a huge, huge, huge buff once you get that. There is a 3rd perk tab, which is you have an extra garage, an extra dock, an extra airport, an extra repair factory, or sorry, extra space in your repair factory, and then increased battle round cap. So these are kind of bonus things that, as you save up enough gold to do it, which it costs 15 FF gold, and it costs 25 of each resource, 25 million of each resource. So these are not cheap. Um, these are a little bit cheaper, the repair factories, but as you get higher levels, it's going to cost more, and same with the battle round cap. It's not as expensive, but it will start to cost more the more you do. The battle round cap, don't understand why. I have never seen a battle go beyond 15 rounds. I don't think I've ever seen anything go beyond 10 rounds. So, not really sure the purpose of that, because this game's really an offensive game. I don't think I've seen anybody have a defense that's set up that could last 15 rounds. That would be a problem. The garage, I know I built mine, and usually it says 1 out of 1 because I did mine. Not really a real reasoning for it. It gives you 50 extra tanks. Not a whole lot of extra room for how much it costs. I would have been better off doing a dock even, or the repair factory a few times. The repair factory will give you more troops that don't get degraded. So remember, when it's in your hospital, it doesn't get degraded, whereas if it gets killed or would be repair and then it doesn't have room in the hospital, it goes to your regular base. So the airport also would be a useful one, because 50 extra planes and 50 extra boats is a lot, whereas 50 extra tanks really isn't a lot. I mean, that's not a lot of space in your base. So you want to keep working through your perks. Suppressions. This is another thing you can work on. I would not prioritize this very high in the rank for level 80s because suppressions don't seem to work how everybody thinks. So in here for my suppression for army, it says increases army to air damage by 60%. And then the next level would be 61.2%. The problem that I believe exists, and it's kind of up for dispute, is that 60% doesn't seem to go straight to your damage. So this does not go to your all unit damage for army versus air. It seems that there's a base number somewhere in the game that exists that this 60% goes off of. So instead of adding 60% to your total attack, this seems to add 60% off of that attack and then adds that amount to your total attack. So that's why these suppressions don't seem to matter a lot. And also these suppressions only work against one troop. So army only works against air, navy only works against army, air only works against navy. So these are very specific things that aren't, in my mind, these aren't a priority. For other people, they might be. Components. You want to get these up to level 10. This is also another high priority for you. So in those events that I was talking about using VIT for, getting your components all up to level 10 is a crucial thing, and possibly start to fill in your other your secondary would be another important thing. So you're able to protect yourself and then have a defense there to protect your base. Or sorry, you'll be able to attack and have a defense there to protect your base once you start getting your secondary. But you definitely want to start working on getting these to level 10 as soon as possible. This is something you should be working on from level 1, but once you hit level 80, you definitely want to start pushing that so that you're not just level 80 to say you're level 80. Equipment. Obviously, you should always be pushing, producing, but you want to start bettering your equipment. So you can get scrolls for this through many events now. You can buy them. There's lots of different ways to get the scrolls. You can see if you go into my backpack, I probably have a question mark somewhere in here. No, I actually don't. I must have just used them. But you are able to, sorry, wrong one. Get lots of different equipment. So if we go through all the things that I have, you'll start seeing, if it lets me click, I have lots of different things. So if you're looking at the far right side, that's where you would see how many different items I have. So you want to start getting things so that you can start maximizing your stats. These are big stat boosts where as even I would prioritize these over a lot of things because these are big stat boosts, and it's something that you don't really have to do anything extravagant for, besides maybe possibly getting the items from rewards. So a good example of that is if we come into the server store, down in the bottom left you have a blue material choice box. So that's something that for me is a priority right now because I want to get all purple equipment so that my stats are pretty high. Orange equipment currently I've only seen able to be gotten by purchase, and it's usually quite expensive, like 200 some dollars, or it's in a power drill down at the bottom near the 10,000 point amount, which is $1,000. So something to keep in mind with that. So purple is probably going to be your goal. A lot of people, blue will probably be what you end up with for a while. And speaking to that, so you'll see in here, I have something in every slot. Even though these are gray, they are adding stats. So now as I build my next thing, I will not get rid of this until when I disassemble this, it finishes what I am going to replace it with. So that way I'm not losing stats while I'm waiting on things to build or produce, I should say. And there's always something going to be in here. So that's kind of how those work. More things for level 80s. Obviously, events. You can push events. You don't have to, like with the arms race, you don't have to win these. It's not going to be detrimental to you. I always thought these rewards were kind of so anyways for how much it costs. My rank right now is completely just off of my VIT that naturally produces, and then the 50 VIT that you can buy for 50 gems, and then the monthly pass. So that is another thing to work on. One last thing to work on, and this is something that you'll be doing a lot, and once you lose them, you'll be doing it again. So you will want to max fill out your base with troops. So you can see right now I'm still recovering from server to server because I was kind of lazy and I didn't want to make a lot of barracks. But what I suggest doing is making enough barracks that once you train one troop on each of them, your entire base is full. So all this section over here should be full. So I should have another probably like 10 to 15 barracks. Once they all produce that one unit, you delete half of them and you build more troops till the base is full. And you keep going, dwindling it down until you only have one barracks left. That way you are making the maximum amount of troops you can as fast as you can. So it doesn't take long in this game to recover, and building a building is not expensive. So right now this is 60.4 DD. I have 1.94 FF. I bet you if I go over to my collection thing, there's another 16 EE there. So building buildings is not expensive, so it does not take a lot to build them, and all it takes to delete them, and I'm going to find one that I can delete. We'll just delete it, ship it. All it takes to delete them is click and hold, hit the trash, and boom, it's gone. Then all it takes to build them, so I'm going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now that's where that nice new little thing comes in handy, where I'm still sitting here counting it like it's the old way, but now it tells me that there's 8. So this way I can make my level 80 back and keep filling out my base for ships. Some other things to focus on for level 80: War of Odinium, server war are big, silo scramble, supply contest, lots of different things to work on, but the main things you want to work on are things that improve your stats. You can keep working on leveling up all your different decor. That's kind of something to keep focusing on. And then this is kind of something that isn't necessary, but I always try to do it. Talk to people. Being level 80, a lot of times people kind of become distant from the game, and that actually causes the lower people to become more distant also. So once you hit level 80, don't necessarily just disappear and just check in, waste your vit, and then get off. Socialize. These games are a lot about socialization. Don't be scared to talk to your alliance. They're all humans too. They're not bad people. Well, I shouldn't say I know that they're not bad people. Some of them might be bad people, but they're all they're all people. So treat them like that. So socialize with them, ask them how they're doing, talk to them about the game, try to help them out if you can help them out. Another thing and I know I keep saying another thing. There's a lot of things to work on, as you can see once you're level 80. Work on your heroes. Work on getting your heroes all to level 120, 5 stars. Focus on the ones that benefit you the most right away, and then the other ones will slowly build up their ways. A good example of slowly building up the way is Bradley for me. So he is 3 stars, 2 bars. So he's 3.2 stars. I haven't done any rewards towards him. I haven't used any shards on him, but he's almost to 4 stars where he starts to become a viable hero. So that is kind of a big thing. And for me right now, I'm working on my Amalia. I have 103 gold shards. I'll transfer her over to 4 stars once I hit the 178, 144 plus 36, 180 shards that are required to go from level 3 to level 4 for SSR. But I'll hold on to those just in case, because I don't know what's going to happen over the next little while. And I don't need her to be strong or anything. So I'm going to hold on to those shards until she's ready to go to 4 star, just in case maybe there's a new hero that comes out that I want to prioritize over her. So that's kind of why I hold on to those. And I'm just going to say this, and this is kind of my thought process for everything. I'm always preparing for the future. I don't know when an update's going to come out that makes us level 85, 90, 95, 100, if it ever comes out. I don't know if we're ever going to have a merger where we're suddenly at a war every single day. So I try to kind of collect things, I would say, and it requires some patience, but you can see here I have 484k tech. That's not by accident. It's not like I'm just not forgetting to open it. I'm purposely not opening those so that if there is an upgrade, and say they change the loot box for those tech, and so instead of the 6 different items or however many it is, suddenly they add R&D to those, I'll have a one up on people for that. And it could always work the opposite where they nerf the loot box and I'm actually at a disadvantage, but typically they buff the loot boxes when they change things. So I try to hold on to things just in case something does happen down the road. And you'll see like the decor, all these decor came from the Odinium mines. You get 20 per tile sometimes, so that's kind of a big thing. And it's just kind of all about saving up and being prepared for anything that may be thrown at you in this game. I personally can't think of a lot of other things. I mean, obviously, you want to be working on like the special effects and the formations. Those are kind of slow goers. Work on getting your Legion stores, and you want to be making sure you use these stores. The new VIP store or the updated VIP store is huge. So make sure you're definitely optimizing this. There's still some things in here that I haven't bought yet. Just waiting to make sure there's not some kind of gem spend event in the next couple of days. So that comes out. Usually it's on Wednesdays, I believe, for us, is when all our new events start to roll out. So I just want to make sure that they're not going to come up with some gem spend event before I buy like my VIT and my gold shards here. And I'm probably going to even get some of these 8-hour speeds because I'm trying to really push for that 3 heroes right now because that's a big thing for Grand Marshal. Other than that, I don't have a lot for you. Just keep grinding. If you have any other suggestions of things for people to work on once they're level 80, please leave a comment on it. I'm sure there's things that I missed, and there's more and more things to be working on than just that. But I hope you all have a wonderful day or night, and please remember to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. And see ya.